Welcome back, Panther fans. I'm Brown here with Ryan Graham,
Hey, y'all.
Tim Thurber,
Hello.
and this is State of Atlanta. I forgot to get my beer ready.
It happens. Sometimes you
Welcome
got to
back.
rush to the beer.
Exactly. I'm totally rushing to the beer. What's up, guys? How was your holiday weekend there?
It was pretty good. What did I do? I don't know if I did anything.
You were in a parade.
I did. I went to a parade.
Yeah.
And what was so funny, so I went to the Peachtree City Parade as part of my campaign, right? So I went with like the Libertarian Party of that county. And I was sitting there like marching along with them, and I swear to God, there were like 4 of you guys that listen to this podcast there. And people being like, go State, not like go Ryan or anything like that. Just go State.
You're like, I want you to support me on the other thing too.
No, it's cool. I know I have their support. I just think it's really funny that I'm seemingly more popular for this podcast and my Georgia State fandom than my statewide race for lieutenant governor.
Of which you'll receive hundreds of thousands of votes just because there's that many libertarians in here that, even though they never met you before, they'll still vote for you because that's
right.
what libertarians do. That's what Republicans and Democrats all do. You vote for the right letter, the correct letter.
Hopefully they know who I am.
Hopefully so, but that's a whole different bag of stuff. How about you, Tim? I saw you yesterday. We did the Peachtree. We didn't do the Peachtree together, but we did the Peachtree.
We did the Peachtree, Jello shots, free beer.
Did you get
the Bloody Mary shot? I don't know about that one.
I skipped the Bloody Mary shot. Did you have the vodka gummy bears?
I didn't. Where were those on the course?
That was the first thing I got. Was the sign said Jello shots, and then I got the little cup. I picked up 2, and I look at it, and it was not a Jello shot. It was like 4 or 5 gummy bears that had been soaked in vodka.
That would have been right up my alley for snacks on the course.
It was
way to vomit.
Stout. It was a very stout first drink of the day at 7 a.m. or whatever it was. It was a good time. I stopped keeping count of how many beer I had after 5, but I know there was some Jello shots and other stuff along the way. So it was a good time. A successful Peachtree.
How did you feel about the switch up with the jersey-ish, not T-shirt?
I was surprised they haven't done like the little tech shirts in the first place. So that's fine by me. That's fine by me. Not a lot of Georgia State news to talk about this week, but obviously a lot going on in college athletics. Tim, you weren't on the early part of the show last week, so I kind of wanted to talk about this, get your take on this a little bit before we get into the big news. But so with July 1st, the new schools have joined the conference, the Sun Belt. What's your take? I mean, we've talked about them quite a bit throughout this whole process, but now that it's officially official, they're on board. What's your take on it?
I think my take really hasn't changed since before. I don't think we need extra schools. I don't mind them. I mean, I think I'd have preferred other schools, but we now look like a much better conference than what else is out there as far as the G5 is concerned, especially with the American downgrading essentially, significantly with their departures, right?
Well, I was thinking about it with them now here, and as petty, I mean, everyone knows how petty I am when it comes to the different schools and how much I dislike the Sun Belt as a conference. But this may be the first time ever that I'm legitimately rooting for a Sun Belt school, especially even a Sun Belt school over another Sun Belt school, because I'm going to be rooting for the new schools to lose in their first season. I don't want them to come in and be good. I want them to lose to us and to other Sun Belt schools. Obviously, there's one school I want them to beat and like just full gas run the score up against TDS. But I hope I actually looked at it for football. You've got on September 24th will be a big one. That's when Marshall's playing at Troy, JMU at Appy, and Old Dominion versus Arkansas State. That's their first Sun Belt game for those 3 schools, and I'll be rooting for the current Sun Belt members in all those games. Do you guys even care about that kind of stuff, or is it just me being super petty?
No, I like the pettiness, actually. I want to root for all the Sun Belt teams, too.
Existing.
I think that's I think it's pretty normal to want the noobs to lose, except for TDS. I remember the first time we went to Tennessee was the first season of Missouri and Texas A&M in the SEC, and we went to the bar afterwards, and they were all rooting for Georgia to beat Missouri. and so it was like sort of like a camaraderie because we lived in Georgia. So, but yeah, I think that's pretty normal, and I concur.
All right. Wow, Ryan's agreeing with me right off the bat. This is going to be a weird night.
Your mic changed. It sounds better.
Yeah, you were right. You pointed out that I was not on the nice Patreon mic, so I had to switch that up.
Do I sound better right now? I have it set differently. I don't know.
You guys both sound fantastic. It's like
make love to the mics.
It's like we're in bed right next to each other, whispering sweet nothings to each other's ears.
I love it.
Oh boy!
All right, so
back to realignment.
Yeah, so big news dropped right before the holiday weekend that we thought that Texas and Oklahoma going to SEC was huge, but now Southern Cal and UCLA to the Big Ten. It was funny. It was like I think it was on Thursday. The rumors are that this could be announced as early as Friday, and then Thursday night is like the two schools have put in their application, and then Friday I wake up to approved. They are now members as of 2024, I think.
Yeah, was there even any smoke to this one, or did it just like happen?
The first I saw about it was 24 hours before I found out it was official. So man. I think that people have been saying that there was going to be a lot of still realignment to happen, but I thought, at least my take on it was that was going to it was over for this season. We wouldn't hear anything about it. And we're already getting started with the new the season upcoming in a couple of months. We were done. And that's not even, that's just the tip of the iceberg. It keeps on going. Now it looks like the Big 12 is trying to take 4 more schools at Arizona State, was it Utah and Colorado?
Yeah,
the Big
they want to go to 18,
which is like a big slap in the face to Memphis, because like Memphis was like when Cincinnati and UCF and Houston went to the Big 12. Like, all right, don't worry, Memphis, you guys are on deck. You guys, we couldn't take all of you one time. We got BYU, but you guys are on deck, and now they're already looking all far out west. Memphis is like slapped in the face.
They're on some other deck. They're not on the right deck.
Yeah, they're on the
they're on the Lido deck.
That could be good. That could be on deck for Sunbelt. That'd be good. Wouldn't be bad.
Well, yeah. So that's kind of one of my questions is, what does this trickle down effect? I mean, there's so much going on right now. It looks like the Pac-12 may absorb what's left of the Pac-12 may absorb the Mountain West. The Mountain West could be a gone conference here in a couple of years. We all thought that Conference USA was on death's door, when in reality it could be the Mountain West. If the Mountain West was to try to do something, come out of salvation, as far as that would affect us, I mean, Texas State's the only school they would probably try to swipe, if any. But even then, that's kind of a stretch. But there's nobody else.
Big stretch right there. I don't know.
I mean, that's only if they're going for like New Mexico State and UTEP or something to kind of get that little area there. But that's only I don't see it having an effect on the Sun Belt. But I'm curious if this causes Keith Gill to react and maybe make moves that he would not have made sooner. So like picking up MTSU in Western Kentucky, maybe trying to make a play on a team like Memphis that is not happy with what the new American looks like.
Maybe with all the new schools, you can pick up Middle Tennessee and Western Kentucky because maybe you got the votes now, because they weren't burned by those other schools.
True, and they come from a similar conference, the same conference as them.
Yeah. So maybe they would be more willing to throw the I don't know how many votes were against them before. I have to imagine that debate happened. Tim,
what you got?
No, is there any like smoke out there as far as any G5 moves, or no? We're all just making shit up like we usually do.
I mean, no, just that. I think what is it gonna be left of the Pac-12? It'd be like Oregon and Washington State or something like that. That those would.
Where do you put them?
Well, that they would, as the Pac-12, that they would try to just take that. I mean, as far as G5, basically, you're effectively promoting the entire Mountain West to the Pac-12 or to the Pac, whatever you want to call it. But we talk about Conference USA 2.0 and 3.0. This would be Mountain West 2.0.
It's called the Mountain Pac.
Just getting that Pac name
with Oregon sitting at the top. It'd be like such a lopsided conference,
Well, kind of like the Big 10 or Big 12 was with Texas and Oklahoma.
I don't know. Yeah. I guess when you add Oklahoma, because I was like, Texas hasn't been good for a little while now.
Yeah, but they're still
have a lot of money.
They've not been good, but they're still like what I think Georgia may have passed them in the past few years, but they're the most valuable college brand or something.
Like, it might still be Texas last I saw, but
yeah, Georgia's
trying to
right
get
up
Georgia
there
credit.
with No, that wasn't even trying to be a compliment to Georgia. I remember hearing that maybe they're including the Green Bay sales, so including all G sales across all football.
Maybe.
I don't know. No, but I've said ever since the Sun Belt decided to go to 14 teams instead of just a 12, there's been a lot of talk about people wanting to add, like UAB should have come here, or ECU should have come here, or getting Middle Tennessee and Western Kentucky to come here. And I've thought that the way that the conference is laid out with the divisions, as soon as you add one more team, or you want to add one more team that's going to be anywhere near the East, that the East would break off and be its own conference.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you've said that now a few times, but it seems like the move is going towards these like very large conferences, and that like we might not be as apt to do that in hopes of having another like a large conference.
That was exactly what I was going to say. It was that my perceptions may be changing now. If the mega conference or the super conference is going to be a thing, then maybe the East would not be so quick to split off into its own East Coast division or East Coast conference, whatever we call it.
David, I think we're 2 for 2 agreeing with each other.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing is I'm drinking and you're not. So I guess you are a drunk me or I'm a sober you.
I'm going to go with you're a sober Ryan.
I don't know if either one is better or worse for me.
So do you think with all these changes, though, going on in the Power 5 conferences or Power 3 or Power 2, whatever they end up at, do you think once the gap widens even more, do you think do you think some of the American teams that moved on might have second thoughts and be like, well, maybe this isn't the best thing for us? Now the gap between the P5 and the G5 is so wide.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback on that. Are we happier or less happy about missing out or choosing to not move to the American Conference in the past couple of months? I don't know. I feel like American is still unsettled about what it is right now. You've got, 6 Conference USA teams that came into it? Is it 6?
Yeah, it's 6.
I mean, the people talk about the best of the G5, and obviously the American was the pinnacle of the G5 prior to any of this moving around. And then it was like, all right, American, Mountain West, Sun Belt. Some people would say they're all on equal footing. Some would say it's a very slight difference between the two of them or the three of them, who's the biggest. I don't think you know what American is right now. And if Memphis is going to be skipped over for Big 12, they can't be happy about their position. I don't know.
I mean, I'm on the record when all that first happened saying that I'm happy we're not in the AAC now, right? Like I think Sunbelt is a better home for us than the AAC, and that's no longer the goal.
Right, and I had said that the goal for me, for Georgia State, was to Big 12. American became not what we wanted to be. Big 12 is what we wanted. Well, now if the Big 12 is trying to get to 18 teams, including the Arizona schools and Utah and Colorado, I mean, yeah, that sounds like a great conference to be in, but that ship may have passed. Like I knew that Big 12 was a very, very big dream that was going to be years and years and years, decades from that coming to fruition. But now that seems like not even in the realm of reality.
Yeah. So what is our goal now, right? If the AAC is not our goal and the Big 12 is not our goal, then what is it? I mean, it's not SEC. Is it ACC? I mean,
so that's a big joke.
Oh no!
Ryan,
don't say ACC.
You don't get on Panda Talk anymore. But there has been this one poster on Panda Talk that has been adamant for months, if not years, that ACC is Georgia State is an ACC school, and that's where we need to position everything to go to. And while I was right along with everybody else mocking and ridiculing the guy for saying it, and I'm still would. ACC is in a weird position right now, because they have their contract agreements go through like the 2036 or 2040 or something crap like that, and it's a crap ton of money. It's like you give up your media money for 20 years or something absurd.
You give up your child.
Yeah, well, no, I would willingly do that. But it's big. So for a school to leave, like there's talk that SEC wants to get Florida State and Clemson, which would make a lot of sense. Some people say that no, that SEC wants to get UNC, like that's the top of their list because they want to get that state flagship school. I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense.
But there's been talk forever about Georgia Tech going to was it the
Big 12?
Big 10, Big 12, yeah.
Yeah, one of the bigs. And like of course that opens up the Atlanta market.
Yeah, but I think with the big, because it was the Big 12 that was, and with their kind of shift, the gaze went westward. It doesn't feel like they would come back to Georgia for Tech.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with the ACC. They're in a unique situation with their contracts and the amount of money that these schools would be out if they wanted to move somewhere else. So, but
like your Clemsons I don't think they would care long term. You know, they'd be like, all right, but I'm going to make all this money in the SEC.
Yeah, but it's big time, Ryan. It's like 15 years of media money gone or something like that. Like I don't know all the nuts and bolts of the whole thing, but it's
so huge. The ACC might be sitting pat.
The ACC, well, but then also someone else
maybe they want to grow.
Well, something that I read about that the ACC had mentioned, or the ACC mentioned, something I read that someone had mentioned about the ACC is, all this stuff is being driven by ESPN and, to a lesser extent, Fox.
Yeah.
So, when it comes down to it, when we're talking about media money going here or there, ESPN can kind of really control if they want Florida State and Clemson in the SEC, if they think they can make more money off of seeing those matchups every week, we don't see why it's not impossible to happen.
Yeah. So there is another option besides finding a target for us, as conference-wise, is to say we sit pat, we become loyal to the Sun Belt.
Man.
And make it the best conference that it can be. I mean, to do that, we're going to have to find a way to boot TDS out and probably JMU. But, maybe that's more reasonable than joining the ACC.
I think we need a
SBC forever for you, David.
Oh, yeah.
SBC forever.
We'll probably be in some carnage of the Sun Belt as long as I'm alive, most likely, just the way my luck goes. But we need... Georgia State needs a visionary, someone who can really figure out, has a good idea about what's going to happen through all this. And I don't know if anybody has any idea what's really going to happen outside of, was it Connecticut? Is that where, that's where ESPN is located?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like some dumb state up there.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have their own good sports, but I don't know. It'd be great to have someone that kind of, you read some story 20, 30 years from now, like, how this one person who, had never, done much, but they had this vision for what college football was the landscape was going to look like. And they knew how to position Georgia State, how to get into whatever the thing is. But I feel like, yeah, we're going to be looking at the big, huge mega super conference, the FBS plus, and Georgia State will be along with the other current G5 schools somewhere between FCS and whatever the NFL light FBS plus type thing is.
Do you think the G5 goes super conference like the P5 is, or do you think we don't go that big? We start condensing our 5 down to 3.
I don't know. I think so obviously the super conferences are happening. It's either going to be the P2 or the P3, right?
Yep.
I could see the G5s trying to mimic that in the short run, but then it won't be feasible, and breaking down into more regional rivalries. So we could get better football. We could get better sports at that level, but that you're never playing for a national championship. We know we're not playing for a national championship now, but at least we can say we can. I mean, Cincinnati can.
We should put all of them, all schools, all FBS schools in a room and say, all right, no more conferences. Y'all go figure it out over 3 days and lots of alcohol.
Then if that happened, then it would be Georgia and Ohio State and Michigan and Alabama and Texas. It'd be exactly what we're seeing right now. Basically, you're basically giving the big schools the chance to
an exit check, right?
Shed their Vanderbilts and their Wake Forest and stuff like that. They're okay. That's exactly what they want.
Then the rest of the schools are going to get in a wet T-shirt contest to try to get in.
That's got to be the next step. I cannot imagine with the amount of money that's going to the football programs that underachieve historically. That's where your money is. Yes, I'm sure getting USC and Ohio State playing every single season in football is going to generate a lot of TV dollars and all kinds of different revenue. But also, not splitting your money to Vanderbilt is going to make a lot more money for the other SEC schools.
I don't know how much. So I don't know how Vandy does with like ticket sales and eyeballs and stuff like that compared to other schools. You know, I know that they do a lot. I mean, that those other schools are doing a lot more, but that's what's going to be more important to like ESPN and realignment if that is what's driving all this.
ESPN doesn't care about ticket sales. They care about advertising dollars and how much they can sell advertising space during a game. And so that's why when Georgia plays Vanderbilt,
eyeballs,
it's played at noon on a Saturday.
Yeah,
you know,
I meant eyeballs, not necessarily attendance. I did say attendance. Forgive me.
Yeah, but so they want to be able to put that prime every single week to have another primetime game that's going to be the best, which could be kind of cool for the sport because we're not going to see probably a lot of undefeated teams when you're playing that high of a caliber every single week. I mean,
that's true.
That's what we talk about with FCS. Yeah, an FCS team can upset a P5 one week, but you put them in a P5 schedule, like JMU's coming, not P5 schedule, but a full FBS schedule. In a full season, then you don't expect them to do well. That's what I think a lot of JMU fans have these high expectations of coming in and just contending for. They can't contend for the title, obviously, but being up there, winning six games in conference. And I'm like, I'm not saying they can't do it. FCS teams have done it in the past. We were not one of them, but that's a tall order. It's a very tall order.
Very tall order indeed. We should just cut them.
Just get rid of them.
Get rid of any school whose colors are purple.
It's a preemptive move. Just get rid of any purple or teal school.
Well, you get rid of them, and then you just take, the three, Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee, and Memphis.
Let's take so
that you're still even.
Wait, so we get rid of JMU and TDS and take JMU and Coastal. Get rid of those two and pick up who? Middle Tennessee.
No, I'm saying get back to just add two basically. So you remove one and then add three.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, just JMU for now.
Oh, it was Tim that wanted to get rid of Coastal. I agree with all those.
You can get rid of Coastal. Why not?
No, Coastal. For whatever reason, people like. I don't care.
You don't want to kill like. There's a budding rivalry, and you don't want to get rid of that.
Well, I just want to. I if Coastal ever leaves this conference, I want to be the first team to win at home because we still haven't. We've never won at home. They've never won at home. Like one of these times, the teams, the home teams, like this is what it was. I think it was Georgia and Auburn were like this for a long time, where it didn't matter how good the two schools were. Whoever the home team was, they were losing that game. And that's what it seems like with Coastal. Was it 5 games we've had now between them?
Talking about realignment, did you read the article, I think by Chris Vanini? I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Panini?
Vanini?
No.
Vanini.
Anyway,
we don't. This is not last call, Tim. You can't just say things like that.
It's a big Vanini. He broke down the G5, right? And like he called them kings, barons, knights, peasants. We actually got some.
I have not seen that. I have not seen.
Oh, you haven't? So the Kings are obviously like Boise State, Cincinnati, Houston, UCF, which they're still G5 for now.
Mm-hmm.
But some of them are leaving, obviously. And obviously the barons, the people that, they're not quite kings. Obviously teams like App State's in there, Memphis, UAB are in there. But we're actually a knight. We've had success, but we're not high success for extended periods of time. Granted, this is our 12th season.
Something like
that. Yeah. So,
14.
We're not a peasant. We're not the team with the furthest.
We're number 2.
we're not 5. Last place. We're not last place.
So you got our friends. We got our friends from Old Dominion. ULM's in there. South Alabama is a peasant. Basically, most of the.
Nice.
Of the Sun Belt.
How many times were we looking at the standings, the rankings from 1 to 128 or 1 to 131, whatever it was, or the worst of the worst, the top 10 worst of the worst teams, and we're like, we just want to get to a point where Georgia State's not included in the bottom tier,
the bottom 10. Yeah,
I felt like we were 120 and below for many years.
Yeah, and now we're top 100, and I think a lot of that has to go with them adding more teams. I think we're the 128th team now. There's 130 2.
I think our Carolina-centric strategy seems to be working.
Well, what if we had gone a different state? Could we be even better?
I don't know, man. We'll never know. But we know we're doing better now.
What other states are out there?
That's the good thing.
What other states? That's funny.
The state of Atlanta.
That's right.
Don't get any ideas to anyone. We'll probably see a petition tomorrow to make Atlanta a state.
That's you know what, that could very well happen. Ryan, is that going around? Is that happening?
No.
Get Atlanta to break off. I
mean, a little bit, but not really.
I had some notes about this. I think we may have covered everything that I wanted to. Oh, there's one thing I saw. So I've been following along on Twitter, social media, looking at this stuff, and man, the disrespect. You think I talk bad about the Sun Belt? Like, oh man, the disrespect for the Sun Belt on social media, for the people that don't cover the sports or have a team to follow there, like they still, there's no respect at all for the Sun Belt. Like every single thing they talk about how bad something is, it's like this is this, and then they become the Sun Belt. Just it's always negative, like, or how bad is the Sun Belt? And I was like, this kind of justifies my feeling towards the whole thing. But I do think that it's misguided by a lot of people that just grew up watching their Ohio State or watching their big league program, and Sun Belt being historically bottom feeder.
Well, I mean, the Sun Belt when we joined it was the bottom of the pack.
They added us to stay alive.
That's right. I mean, they were the bottom of the pack, and we've been part of this rise that we've seen. And
yeah, what was their hashtag? There was Together We Rise.
It's really just Georgia State. Just latch on, guys. Latch on. We're heading up to the moon.
It's App State in football and Georgia State in basketball. And
no, it's us for football too. Appy just doesn't know it yet.
And our bowl games.
Nobody else knows it yet either.
That's one thing that kind of surprised me. I think that nobody gets down on Georgia State more than Georgia State fans. And like we talk about how bad we've been or how bad it's gone. Because honestly, we've written the book on how not to start a football program, but you start thinking about things like, and as bad as it's been, it's you forget how good it's actually been in the past few years. Coach Elliott really has done a tremendous job when it's come to getting us into the bowl games, winning bowl games. We're 4-2 in bowls. Is that what it is?
That sounds like right.
Yeah. That's,
we're quasi spoiled, right?
From starting our very first season in FBS, going 0-12, to even all the way up to Coach Elliott's second season where we went 2-10, but still at that same time we've gone 4-2 in bowls. We've been to 6 bowl games.
I know, it's crazy. ULM still 0.
Half of our entire season, half of our entire history has been in bowl games.
I know, it's crazy.
Maybe that's a stat we should follow, because we've looked at how long it's going to take us before our team as a whole gets to 500 as an entire program in football. Or I think that Coach Elliott is, if he wins one more game, he's, over 500 in his win-loss record. But yeah, let's just look at years we've been around and years we've been to bowl games as a judgment on how good the program is. So
do we need to add in the qualified years we've gone while qualified to go?
We've always been qualified to go.
No.
Like the first year we weren't.
When we were FCS,
right,
we could not go to a bowl game.
Oh, right. Yeah, we don't count it.
Only FBS, right?
Yeah,
only FBS years we could actually get to a bowl game.
Yeah. From 0-12, which we actually weren't able to. So I think that was a 2-10 year too, or was that a 1-11 year? We beat Abilene Christian, and then we never won a game. Yeah. That was the picture of like Nick Arbuckle doing the starfish in the middle of the field after beating Abilene Christian.
Oh, nope, no idea.
You don't remember that at all?
No.
It was good times.
Yeah.
Good times.
I must have blocked that season out.
Or you drank through the entire season. That was Georgia Dome times.
That's what I just said. I blocked it out.
Oh, it sounded like you said blocked. I thought you meant blacked. Blacked it out. Or blacked out. One other, not really. There was a thread on the Sunbelt message board. I didn't read it at all. I've got no idea what was said in there. But there was a question about what people feel about a G5 playoff. And I've been staunchly against a G5 playoff for a long time. But I did think not a G5 playoff, but why not just like we have the NIT for men's basketball or for basketball. What if there was a playoff for not just G5, but all FBS programs that didn't make it into the playoff. Obviously, it makes more sense to do that if the playoffs have 12 teams or something like that. You're not going to have an NIT for the next 4 teams, so you're your top 8 or whatever.
But instead of doing that, they should really just be extending the playoff system. Like it doesn't make sense to have two there.
I mean, if there's gonna be eyeballs on the TV screen, then
I guess just extend the first one though. First, I mean, 4 teams. Come on.
So do you just use the bowl games as these playoff games, David?
You do. I'm sorry. What was the question?
Do you just reuse the bowl games as this G5 playoff game?
I think there should be something done with the bowls where people talk about all the time how bowls could be used as playoff games, and they kind of are right now. But somehow position the bowl games to be some kind of seeding order or something to make it a little bit more playoffy look, even if it's not anybody that wins advances to another round or anything, or maybe they do, but it's not going to be a champion. Only the top 4 teams or 6 or 8, whatever it goes to. I like the idea of a 12-team playoff, but I think the bowls, they should really look at the entire bowls and find a way to make it a little bit more interesting,
right?
Instead of just being the number 3 team from this conference gets the number 4 team from that conference type stuff.
It's super weird, and to me, like when I'm flipping through the channels, there's nothing interesting about 2 teams that I'm not interested in. And there are ways to like make those games more interesting for like your casual watcher.
Right.
So yeah, but stuff like tournaments.
It's the same kind of thing that the selection committee does for the basketball thing is, when they go through with all their teams, they try to find, they want to have a headline. They want to have a story about why they put this team against this team or that team in this region or whatever it is. They may claim they don't, but they do.
Yeah.
So
maybe turn the whole bowl system into like a 2 tiers, right? So like you play to get into the bowl game, you qualify.
Well, that's what your season is.
What?
That's what your season is. Your regular season is your qualification for a bowl game.
This is like the out of conference still.
This is like before the bowls. You added something in, right?
Yeah, or just switch some of the bowls to be playing games.
What if you actually made it where certain teams had the same out of conference schedule? Like made the out of conference schedule kind of a pool play type thing that had repercussions for later on in the bowl season. Have a champ from that.
Seems like a lot of work.
It seems like a lot of work, and you're not. Considering how long games are planned out and everything, but having that out of conference means something other than a win or a loss, but kind of cool. How it played out. I don't
know. Woo.
Yeah, you guys got anything else?
Woo. I don't.
Yeah, because
I think we're good.
All right, cool. There's
we're not.
There's one little thing that's not worthy of putting on the episode they'll talk about in the in last call. Worthy of for there. Good chat there.
Okay.
No exciting comments in the public forum.
The chat, yeah. Prue's got some comments going here. Kind of rehash a little bit, but I think the G5 will just have to react to rating if the ACC really does get rated like the rumors suggest. The Sun Belt will need to act fast. I mean, I don't know how if the ACC gets rated, I don't know how that affects the Sun Belt. I mean, outside of us, I can't imagine any school going to the ACC.
Yeah.
See, I could see the Sun Belt East breaking off and joining it with some AAC teams. Maybe I really think that I like my idea that the G5 conferences are going to try to expand. Probably not the MAC. MAC is probably the only conference that's going to stand pat and do absolutely nothing. I could see the Sun Belt trying to expand and then eventually breaking apart.
I mean, and the MAC will stay pat because not because they want to or anything. It's just who would do that? Why would anyone go there?
Right.
It's just there.
It doesn't make sense. You know what? I've heard those Marshall folks really like the MAC, and that maybe they would go back.
They're welcome to go back. No, actually, Marshall is one of the teams I wanted.
No. If you pay attention to them at all, they still spend time shit talking the MAC like years later.
I can't wait till we have a passionate fan base. I mean, and by passionate fan base, I mean more than like the 3 of us being in our 60s, still talking about the exact same thing.
We're going to talk about when's the East going to break off.
Exactly. Episode 400 or episode 4000 of State of Atlanta. When will the East break off and create its own division? Florida has been submerged underwater after the Great Floods.
We've lost half the schools.
Georgia State hasn't won a national championship since 2025.
Exactly.
Yes. Hey, you just need one, right? You don't need multiple when you're at this level.
Hey, if you told me I could see one Georgia State national championship in football before I died, I would call that a winning life. A winning life. Yeah, absolutely. Who knows what the definition of a national championship in football will look like come that time? But I mean, I kind of see this idea of really having like that. I joked about the FBS Plus or NFL Lite, that thing where you have like these 30 or 60 teams that are kind of really playing. You know, do you think there is room to have three categories within Division I football, having this upper tier that is its own minor league pro team, and then you have the FBS proper, what is be considered G5 or the lower P5 programs now, and then FCS is still down there. Do you think people would still be attracted to FBS football if it was not the top of the order?
Yeah, and it would also create this weird split of fans that would probably just peel off and be all new P5. Like no interest whatsoever. Like I think you'd still keep a bunch of the fans, but there'd be those fans that watch both. You'll lose them.
I kind of feel like the separation in there, you actually may get some people that were kind of split before of being maybe more in on their program because there is a chance to have some form of a championship at that level. I don't know.
If you could bring that relegation thing forward, I think then you'll get fans.
Well, that we should do, but it won't happen.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah, relegation would be, I mean, it's kind of, this is one thing I want to talk about. Relegation would be great for college football. It's kind of set up for it to be successful, but with the money the way it is and being as lopsided as it is with the control, it's not going to happen. So this is one of the thoughts I had, one of the questions I put in there that I forgot to go back and look at, I don't know, was, so with ESPN and the media controlling everything, you've had the SEC network and the Big Ten network, the Longhorn network. Do you think that the NCAA missed out? The NCAA should have created their own sports channel, their own channel back long ago where they were in control of everything, and they could have arranged this whole thing without ESPN getting involved. And I'm not saying that I have any, love for the NCAA or they do things better than anybody else, but maybe if it was being controlled by the NCAA versus a third-party media organization, they could have done something that could have made this a little bit more true fan friendly, more equitable, something like that.
Yeah, they wouldn't have done that.
They would need a lot of channels to carry all this shit, right? Like it's a lot of teams.
If they would have had the forethought to know what streaming services would have been like in 10, 15, 20 years ago to what they're gonna be like now, or if they just would have put together, ESPN used to show dogs catching frisbees and crap like that. So they found a way to put college basketball on TV to make that big, and now ESPN controls sports, at least within the U.S., pretty much completely.
Yeah, and they could still have done like a primary, secondary, tertiary rights, so like, if they fill in their schedule first and then whoever's up next gets whatever goes to the highest bidder,
They sell it off to CBS, ABC,
exactly, all
that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think it'd be kind of interesting if NCAA would have decided, instead of making money off of the ESPN putting these games on, if they would have said, no, let's go ahead and create our own television network and do that whole thing. It could have been a very different world now.
It wouldn't have been equitable. It just would have been, different people's priorities, and it would have been still like the cream of the crop would be making decisions for everybody else like they are now. So it might be less equitable.
They'd be on NCAA proper.
Exactly. I'm just advocating for another subscription service for me to pay for to have an NCAA service.
It would be NCAA the Ocho.
Well, I wonder though, would have NCAA used that to actually push more of the non-revenue sports?
Maybe.
have more stuff out there.
Yes, from 1 a.m. to 7 a.m.
Exactly.
Well, for non-football season though, have all that stuff on there. It'd be cool.
True.
Very cool. I don't know, just something I thought about with ESPN controlling everything. What if somebody else had gotten their hands on it? Someone that had the rights to everything to begin with. All right. Well, I think that's all I got. 40 minutes. Pretty good.
Also, I got pee.
Solid.
You got to pee and you didn't even drink?
I've been drinking a lot of water today.
That's boring. All right. We'll dig into the root of how many days Ryan's been sober and why he's being forced to no longer drink. What chip
I'm drinking tomorrow.
How many? Come on, Ryan, you're better than that, dude. Come on, you can go. You can pick another day. We're all here to support you.
Oh Lord.
Cheers.
as I chug. All right, thanks, Ryan, for listening. We will be back next week. Hopefully, more Georgia State stuff. And speaking of the new schools coming in earlier, like talking about the episode, we will be talking to some podcasts and some people that cover the new schools about what to expect this season from them in football, basketball, and all the other sports. So coming up in the next couple of weeks, trying to get that all on the schedule. So check that out. And thanks for listening. We're gonna do last call. Find on our Patreon page, patreon.com/State of Atlanta. Available for free on Fridays. Available immediately to our Patreon members, $3 a month. Access to our group chat early, last call, whatever stuff we can come up with. So, yeah. Say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye, guys.
Peace.